Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Insight Meditation Community of Charlotte, whether you're here in this room or here in the Zoom room. So if you're in the Zoom room, you might not get what you're seeing. So you're seeing me in the back of the room where we come in the door at the church, because this is where the Wi-Fi is the strongest. So you might see people wandering in and out. But anyway, happy to be here and to talk to you guys tonight about, I always title my talks. By the way, I'm Debbie George, one of your Dharma leaders. And it's really nice to see people in person. And I formally, officially invite all of you to come back here and there. If you might like it. You might find that you like it again. So consistent daily meditation practice as a tried and true way to a more peaceful life is what I'm going to talk about. So if you're here, you seeking more peace in your life, you're in good company. I can't remember when I didn't aspire to more peace in my life. Maybe it's due to growing up in a puppy pile. I was the second of 5 girls born within 6 years, 3 or 4 to a bedroom, 1, as in 1, bathroom. And much of the time, both parents were away at work. So for most of my childhood, even as we got ready for church, rushing, always late, chaos reigned. So here I am trying to have a peaceful life. So as it was in the 60s, girls had to cover their heads with a veil or a doily. And in our case, my mom, I can picture it like it was yesterday, at the back of the church would pull out the Kleenexes, pluck them one at a time and plop them on our heads. And we'd rush in there and sit. And then it was peaceful sitting. And I liked it. I liked the quiet, even if the rituals didn't really have meaning for me. So in my search for peace and quiet, I've always loved readings that point the way to peace, especially nice, neat lists, that describe qualities or steps to peaceful living. For years, I'd read or hear an inspirational talk and feel so excited. Yes, that's how I want to be. That's how I'm going to be. And I'd tape the paper list to the bathroom window or refrigerator, and that would remind me to take these steps and begin to live in a different way, a more peaceful way. After a week or two, the paper list would only remind me that I hadn't changed, and I still wasn't measuring up to my high aspirations. My sky-high level of sincerity didn't seem to matter. For example, I just couldn't remember in real time to see each and every person, no matter how rude or mean, as a child of God. I'd just see the jerk and hate on him and then be mad at me because I had failed again. I used to think, that memorizing ways to deeper peace was enough. I thought it was a matter of remembering to do or think in a peaceful way, the right way, not the wrong way. I always wanted to be kinder, a more loving person, but for years I failed. Nothing happened, nothing shifted. I didn't understand why I'd fall back into my old reacting habits in the same way when I had such high goals. Back then, I believed it was a deep flaw in my character, or I was just too forgetful or lazy. And I would scold myself using mean, self-critical talk. After countless years of failure and stagnancy, this summer, I'll complete my 15th year of consistent daily meditation practice. My mindfulness practice, my awareness practice, and this is the practice that has worked for me. It's changed my relationship to stress and thus my response to stress. I still catch myself often devoid of mindfulness, but when the undesirable stuff hits the fan, I often notice that acceptance quickly arises, and then I proceed with caution. Since I've begun this practice, I see that I'm more sensitive and kinder to others. The heart develops along with the awakening of awareness. Inherent in mindfulness practice is the centering around the heart and a growing caring concern for the self, for yourself and others. Mind, heart are integrated in this practice, infused, so that mindfulness could have been translated as heartfulness. You've heard me say that a lot of times. Before I began mindfulness meditation, though, on a consistent daily basis, I didn't know what to expect and how my mind would begin to shift. I only knew I wanted to give it a go. Harvard neuroscientist Sarah Lazar, in multiple studies, has found positive correlations between duration of consistent daily meditation and positive emotions. The part of the brain associated with empathy and creativity physically grows after an average of 8 weeks of daily practice. But I didn't know about the studies, and I remember being surprised to see changes in me showing up within the first couple months, which made me want to keep it up. At long last, results. So fun fact, knowledge isn't what changes our brains or hearts. So what does? The Buddhist teachings are strewn with words develop, cultivate, train, and practice, amongst others. For me, it was only when I began a consistent daily meditation practice that I began to see real shifts in my tendencies to choose the paths of peace versus turmoil. If awareness is active, the mind offers up choice multiple times a day in how we can respond versus habitually react to the day's events. Practice means becoming aware, turning on the mindfulness response versus going along with the mind's unchecked, unfiltered knee-jerk response. My consistent daily practice clearly was shifting my brain and behavior toward more ease. We practice being with disappointment, insecurity, sadness, frustration, wanting people and things to be such, and not wanting people and things to be such. Practice is being with the givens of life. Sitting with our heart and mind, with this awareness, we can know that when sorrow, fear, or anger arise, that's what it feels like for others. Life gives us all these ordinary emotions. Sometimes we hurt. When we sit with that, compassion naturally grows from within. And we can pointedly practice to develop more loving kindness toward ourselves and others in various ways. It's truly a practice to cultivate more peace. And sometimes it's like we've never practiced mindfulness in our life. It's nowhere to be found. But we have been changed in deep ways as a result of accumulating practice. Here's a story about how I just last week found a calm response to an otherwise very stressful situation. I can't believe I'm sharing this out loud. I could not find my brand new iPhone. After searching the car the house, the yard, the trash cans. I was frantic without a shred of mindfulness. I took a much needed breath and had the faintest recollection of putting it just for a moment on the roof of my car. Well, it wasn't there now. So I retraced my 4-mile route ever so slowly and actually found my new phone. It stayed on the roof for 3 miles. I got out, picked it up, and saw that it had been run over multiple times. Then I noticed I'd been feeling calm, even with the stressors at hand. The moral of the story for me is that my heart remained intact. After my shock, a calm acceptance arose, just came. And I just took the necessary steps to file the claim. And by the way, the claim had a bit of meta, a bit of loving kindness on it, where it said, describe how it happened. In small print, it said, don't worry, we've heard it all. And I felt the kindness of that humorous gesture. Yeah. It's rewarding to notice that this was certainly a dramatically different response than I would have had 15 years ago. I was much kinder towards myself. And as I looked at my tendency to try to do too much at once, even with a consistent daily practice, we'll continue to experience big emotions. We will. Sadness and fear, anxiety, jealousy, confusion, anger. So does that mean we're falling short? Not at all. We'll experience the range of emotions, but they just don't have to determine how we'll react. Through meditation, we're becoming adept in seeing the presence of big emotions and difficult thoughts, so that we can more often, not always, choose a response. Developing this skill to see and then choose determines how much distress we'll have or not have in our day, as well as when we face life's biggest challenges. The mind likes activity. Cultivating mindfulness with heart or metta, a pointed loving kindness meditation practice, is feeding our peaceful sensibilities. Giving the mind a job, like to watch and be aware of this breath in and out, this dishwashing, or this moment of driving, or whatever's happening here and now, subverts being lost in thought that is often distressing. We bring the heart online to increase our discernment. We learn to let the heart watch what the thinking mind is serving up. If kindness is waning, we can stop and wish safety and well-being for ourselves or someone. Mindfulness doesn't care what it notices. It just sees. And in the simple witnessing, we can choose how to respond. Otherwise, we go along believing our thoughts, being a slave to whatever the mind's in the mood to serve up, often not peaceful and not based in what's true. Have you noticed your mind making up stuff? Scenarios that are so plausible, they must be true. The mindfulness practice reminds me of the Native American story about the 2 wolves that live in each of our hearts, and they constantly compete for dominance. One represents our good qualities, our patience, our understanding, love, compassion, and the other are negative tendencies. So the hatred, jealousy, anger, harsh judgment. And which one will win the fight? The one the stronger one. And that one is the one we feed. A few weeks ago, I came across a lovely list that to me speaks of the benefits of a consistent daily meditation practice called Symptoms of Inner Peace. It's by Saskia Davis. She sat down one morning in the 80s and it just poured onto the paper. Somehow it quietly got passed around and gained momentum and took on a life of its own. She was thrilled when 25 years later, she Googled it and found millions of postings of her words from around the world. Her name had been dropped from it, so she put it out there that she was the author and got back a barrage of love letters and gratitude. So many people had been deeply touched and inspired. I'll read it to you now. Saskia's Symptoms of Inner Peace writing. And my wish is that you're all seeing this in your lives. Okay, symptoms of inner peace. A tendency to think and act spontaneously rather than on fears based on past experiences. An unmistakable ability to enjoy each moment. A loss of interest in judging other people. A loss of interest in interpreting the actions of other people. A loss of interest in conflict. A loss of the ability to worry. I'm waiting for that one still. Frequent, overwhelming episodes of appreciation. Contented feelings of connectedness with others and nature. Frequent attacks of smiling. An increasing tendency to let things happen rather than make them happen. An increased susceptibility to the love offered by others, as well as the uncontrollable urge to extend it. I never get tired of reading this list. Inspirational writings can remind us of why we meditate. Quotes that ring your bell, Dharma talks and readings give us a vision of what's possible. They provide us a North Star. The Buddha said his teachings point the way, but we have to go and see for ourselves. The practice trains the mind and heart and creates new and stronger pathways to peace. The Buddha described in detail what we can expect to experience for one on the path of peace. And he told us how to practice. In the Metta Sutta discourse on loving kindness, he said, "This is what should be done by one who is skilled in goodness and who knows the path of peace. Let them be able and upright, straightforward and gentle in speech, humble and not conceited, contented and easily satisfied, unburdened with duties and frugal in their ways, peaceful and calm and wise and skillful, not proud and demanding in nature." It goes on. I'm stopping there. He's saying to me, get your own act together. Do what's needed to live honestly, speak truthfully and gently. Be humble and content with your life. Easily satisfied. And don't be too busy so that you can be calm and undemanding. My overbusyness and then haphazardly losing my cell phone illustrates what not to do. Clyde's nodding his head. Later, he says, "Wishing in gladness and in safety, may all beings be at ease. And this includes us, ourselves. More on this next month, because we're going to be studying the divine abodes, beginning the first week in April for our Wednesday night spring series. So to conclude, I hope your practice is going well. Practicing meditation consistently, day in and day out, is the solid 2,600-year-old tried and true way. May your practice carry you as you find your days unfolding more smoothly with more peace in your life.